Success Through a Positive Mental Attitude, by Napoleon Hill and W. Clement Stone. Introduction. Imagine it's late at night in Chicago. A young man named S.B. Fuller is driving slowly down 61st Street, his heart pounding in his chest. He's just $10,000 short of buying the company he's dreamed of owning for 12 long years. He's exhausted every source of credit he knows. Friends, loan companies, investment groups, they've all helped, but he's still at the final hurdle, with only hours left on the clock. If he doesn't find the money by morning, he'll lose his entire life savings of $25,000. In the quiet darkness of his car, he says a prayer. He asks for a sign. Just one sign. He tells himself, I will drive down this street until I see the first light in a business establishment. That will be my answer. Block after block rolls by in darkness. Then, finally, he sees it. A single light, glowing in a contractor's office. It's 11 o'clock at night. He parks the car, walks in, and sees a man he barely knows, tired from working late. Taking a deep breath, Fuller has to be bold. He walks up to the man and asks a question that will change both their lives forever. Do you want to make $1,000? That one question, born from a moment of desperation and faith, is the beginning of an empire. But the real story isn't about the money. It's about the invisible force that led him to that lighted window in the first place. Today, we're going to explore a book that has been a secret weapon for millions of people around the world, Success Through a Positive Mental Attitude, written by two legends, Napoleon Hill and W. Clement Stone. This isn't just another self-help book, it's a roadmap to unlocking a power that you already possess but might not know how to use. By the end of our time together, you will understand the one simple secret that separates those who achieve from those who only dream, an invisible talisman that has the power to either attract wealth, success, and happiness, or repel them. This isn't magic in the fictional sense, but it is the most powerful magic that exists in the real world. And the best part? You're already carrying it with you right now. Book summary. So what is this invisible force, this secret that S.B. Fuller seemed to tap into on that lonely Chicago street? The authors, Napoleon Hill and W. Clement Stone, give it a name. They call it your invisible talisman. Imagine you have a small, smooth stone in your pocket. You can't see it, but you can always feel it. On one side, etched in bright, shining letters, are the initials PMA. On the other side, in dull, heavy letters, are the initials NMA. PMA stands for Positive Mental Attitude. NMA stands for Negative Mental Attitude. This talisman, they explain, is your mind. And at every moment of every day, you are choosing which side to face upward. The side you choose determines everything that happens to you. When you face the PMA side up, it acts like a magnet, attracting wealth, success, happiness, and health. It's the force that allows some people to climb to the top and stay there. It's what gave S.B. Fuller the audacity to ask a near stranger for $10,000 late at night. He had turned his talisman to PMA. He had faith, he had a clear goal, and he took action. The contractor, sensing this incredible positive energy, said yes. Fuller got his money, bought the company, and went on to build a business empire that included 7 other companies. But the other side, NMA, is just as powerful. When you face that side up, it repels all the good things in life. It keeps some people at the bottom their whole lives and pulls others down from the top right after they've reached it. The authors tell a fascinating little story about a woodcutter to illustrate this. This woodcutter was an unsuccessful man who always seemed to find the negative in every situation. For years, he'd supplied firewood to a homeowner, but one day, he delivered a load of logs that were too big for the fireplace. The homeowner called and asked him to split them. The woodcutter, with his enemy side facing up, snapped, "I can't do that. It would cost more than the whole load is worth," and hung up. So, the homeowner had to split the logs himself. As he was working, he noticed one log was unusually light and seemed hollow. With one swing of his axe, he split it open, and a blackened roll of tin foil fell out. Inside were old $50 and $100 bills, amounting to over $2,000. The homeowner, a man with a positive mental attitude, immediately wanted to return the money. He called the wood dealer back and asked where he had cut the wood, hoping to find the original owner. But the woodcutter's enemy flared up again. "That's nobody's business but mine," he grumbled. "If you give away your secrets, people will cheat you." The man with PMA found the money. The man with NMA, who had physically handled the log containing a small fortune, repelled it without even knowing it. Good breaks happen to everyone. But a person living with a negative mental attitude will, time and time again, prevent those lucky breaks from ever benefiting him. A person with a positive mental attitude, on the other hand, will find a way to turn even the worst breaks into advantages. And this leads to one of the most powerful ideas in the entire book. It's a mantra worth writing down and taping to your mirror. Every adversity has the seed of an equivalent or greater benefit. Think about that. It's not just saying look on the bright side, it's a law. Inside every problem, every failure, every heartbreak, there is a seed. And if you have the right attitude, you can find that seed and plant it. You might be thinking, that's easy to say, but what if you have a real, physical handicap? How can a change of attitude help then? Well, let me tell you about Tom Dempsey. Tom was born without half of his right foot and with only a stub for a right arm. As a kid, all he wanted to do was play sports like the other boys, especially football. So his parents had a special wooden foot made for him, which fit inside a stubby football shoe. Hour after hour, day after day, Tom practiced. Kicking, kicking, kicking. He kept trying to make field goals from farther and farther away. He got so good that he was eventually hired by the New Orleans Saints professional football team. Then came the day. In the final 2 seconds of a game, with 66,000 fans screaming, Tom Dempsey, the man with a crippled leg, kicked a 63-yard field goal, the longest field goal ever kicked in a professional game at that time. It won the game for the Saints, 19-17. The opposing coach said, "We were beaten by a miracle." But was it a miracle, or was it the result of a young boy who saw his adversity not as a barrier, but as a seed? That wooden foot, his supposed disadvantage, became his greatest strength. He had a burning desire, he practiced relentlessly, and he kept trying with a positive mental attitude. He found the seed of a greater benefit in his adversity. The book is filled with stories like this, but they all point back to a central truth: before you can change your world, you have to change yourself. There's a wonderful little story about a minister trying to prepare his sermon on a rainy Saturday. His young son was bored and restless, constantly interrupting him. In desperation, the minister found a magazine with a big, colorful map of the world. He tore it into dozens of small pieces, scattered them on the floor, and said, "Son, if you can put this map of the world back together, I'll give you a quarter." He figured this would keep the boy busy for hours. But 10 minutes later, his son knocked on the study door with the puzzle perfectly assembled. The minister was stunned. "How did you do that so fast?" he asked. "Oh, it was easy," the boy said. On the other side of the map, there was a picture of a man. I just put the picture of the man together, and I figured if I got the man right, the world would be right. If you get the man right, the world will be right. That is the essence of this book. We so often blame the world for our problems. I never had a chance. I grew up in the wrong neighborhood. I didn't have the right education. We point fingers at everything and everyone outside of ourselves. But Hill and Stone argue that the problem isn't the world, it's the picture of the man we have in our heads. The world we experience is a reflection of our inner attitude. And the amazing thing is, you were born to win. The authors remind us of the incredible battle you won before you were even born. Out of tens of millions of potential lives, only one, the fastest, healthiest, strongest one, made it. You. At the moment of your conception, you were a champion, overcoming staggering odds. Victory is literally built into your DNA. But somewhere along the way, we forget this. Life hands us a few setbacks, and we start to believe we're destined to fail. We need something to reawaken that champion inside. For a young boy named Irving Ben Cooper, that something was a book. Ben grew up in a near slum, so poor that he had to sneak down to the railroad tracks to pick up fallen pieces of coal to heat his home. He lived in constant fear of a gang of bullies who would ambush him, beat him up, and scatter his precious coal all over the street. He felt weak and ashamed. Then one day, he started reading the Horatio Alger books, stories about brave, young heroes who overcame great odds with courage and moral strength. All winter, he sat in his cold kitchen, living inside these stories, unconsciously absorbing a positive mental attitude. He started to see himself not as a victim, but as a hero. A few months later, he was walking down to the tracks when he saw the bullies hiding, waiting for him. His first instinct was to run. But then, he remembered the heroes from his books. He gripped his coal scuttle tighter and marched straight ahead. The fight was brutal. 3 boys jumped him at once. But this time, Ben wasn't fighting as the scared, undernourished boy from the slums. He was fighting as one of Alger's heroes. He fought with a fury that stunned the bullies. He fought until, one by one, they turned and ran away. What changed? Ben wasn't physically stronger. The bullies weren't any weaker. The only thing that had changed was his mental attitude. He had identified himself with a successful image, and it completely transformed his reality. This is a powerful technique. When you face a challenge, identify with someone, real or fictional, who embodies the strength and courage you need. Fight your battle as they would fight it. You'll be amazed at the power it gives you. But having a positive attitude isn't enough on its own. It needs a direction. The authors say this is the true starting point of all achievement. It's one of the 17 success principles they outline, and it's called definiteness of purpose. 98 out of every 100 people who are dissatisfied with their lives don't have a clear picture of what they actually want. They drift aimlessly, fighting against things they don't want, but never moving toward a clear goal they do want. Can you state, right now, exactly what you want out of life? Fixing your goals is the moment everything changes. It's like giving your subconscious mind a destination for its GPS. Once the destination is set, your mind starts working on it, almost automatically. You start noticing opportunities you were blind to before. Work that felt like a chore becomes fun, because you see it as a stepping stone. Your desire turns into a burning desire. Think of Robert Christopher. As a boy, he read the book Around the World in 80 Days and it sparked his imagination. As a young man, he read Think and Grow Rich and an audacious idea hit him. Why can't I go around the world on $80? Most people would laugh that off as a silly daydream. But Bob had a definite purpose with PMA. He got into action. He wrote down all the problems he would face and started finding solutions. He made a deal with a pharmaceutical company to collect soil samples. He got an airline to fly him across the Atlantic in exchange for publicity photos. He learned that American cigarettes were as good as cash in many countries. He set off with just $80 in his pocket. He paid for a train ride through the Alps with 4 packs of cigarettes. He got a bus ride to Damascus because a Syrian policeman was so proud of the picture Bob took of him. He made it all the way around the world in 84 days, and he did it on $80. He succeeded because he knew exactly what he wanted. His definite purpose acted like a magnet, pulling the resources and opportunities he needed toward him. So, the formula starts to become clear: a positive mental attitude, combined with a definite purpose. But there's a third ingredient, and it's perhaps the most crucial: action. And this is where most people get stuck. We have good intentions. We get inspired. We make plans. But then, we do nothing. The authors have a powerful, 2-word solution for this: a self-starter to overcome procrastination and inertia. That self-starter is, do it now. This isn't just a catchy phrase. It's a command you give yourself, a habit you build through repetition. The authors say you should never say "do it now" to yourself unless you immediately follow through with action, even on the smallest things. Have to make a phone call you've been putting off? Do it now. Alarm goes off in the morning and you want to hit snooze? Do it now. Get up. By responding to this command in little things, you build a reflex. It becomes so powerful that in times of emergency, or when a big opportunity appears, you will act instinctively, without hesitation. Think of Kenneth Harmon, a civilian employee for the Navy in Manila when the Japanese invaded during World War II. He was captured and held in a hotel for 2 days before being sent to a prison camp. His roommate had a book under his pillow, Think and Grow Rich. Kenneth started reading it and felt a shift inside him. The despair he felt was replaced with hope. He knew he had to have this book with him in the dark days ahead. He couldn't take the book, so he asked if he could copy it. His roommate said yes. Kenneth didn't hesitate. He heard the command in his mind, "Do it now." He began typing furiously, word by word, page by page, working night and day, obsessed with the feeling that he could be taken away at any moment. And he was right. Within an hour of typing the last page, his captors led him away to the notorious Santo Tomas prison camp. He finished in time because he started in time. For the next 3 years and 1 month, that manuscript was his lifeline. It gave him the courage to survive, the strength to maintain his health, and the focus to plan for his future. He left that prison camp a better, stronger man because on that day in the hotel, he acted. He didn't wait. He did it now. This principle of immediate action is what separates the dreamers from the doers. But what if you act, you have a positive attitude, you have a clear goal, and you still fail? This is where another of the book's core ideas comes in: the principle of and something more. Often, the difference between success and failure is one tiny, missing ingredient. A small detail that everyone else overlooked. The Wright brothers weren't the only ones trying to build an airplane. Many others came incredibly close, using the same basic principles. But Orville and Wilbur added something more. They attached movable flaps to the edges of the wings, allowing the pilot to control the plane's balance. That simple addition was the difference between crashing and flying. Alexander Graham Bell wasn't the only one to invent a telephone. A man named Philip Race had a working device years earlier. He could even sing through it. But he couldn't transmit speech. The problem? He was using an intermittent electrical current. Bell added the something more: he switched to a continuous current. The difference between the two, as the Supreme Court later noted, was the difference between failure and success. When you feel like you've tried everything and you're still stuck, don't give up. Ask yourself, what is the something more? What is the one small adjustment, the one overlooked detail, that could change everything? Sometimes, all it takes is a flash of inspiration. The authors tell a story about the great inventor R.G. Letourneau, who built massive earth-moving equipment. He used to say his greatest asset was his silent senior partner. One night, he was flying home on his private plane and fell asleep. His associate, Napoleon Hill, saw him suddenly wake up, scribble something in his notebook, and then fall back asleep. When they landed, Hill asked him if he remembered writing anything. Letourneau had no memory of it. He pulled out his notebook and his eyes went wide. "Here it is," he exclaimed. "I've been looking for this for several months. Here's the answer to a problem that has kept me from completing a new machine." That flash of inspiration was the something more. The book urges us to always keep a pencil and paper handy. When an idea strikes, write it down immediately. Don't trust your memory. That idea might be the missing piece of your puzzle. Now, as you apply these principles, PMA, definite purpose, action, and looking for the something more, you will inevitably face problems. But remember our mantra: every adversity has the seed of an equivalent or greater benefit. The authors tell the story of Charlie Ward. This man was born into poverty, rode the rails as a hobo, and associated with smugglers and thieves. Eventually, he was arrested and sent to Leavenworth Penitentiary. He was bitter and angry, vowing to escape. Then, something shifted. He chose to change his attitude. He decided to stop being hostile and become the best prisoner in the prison. He started reading the Bible every day. He forgave the people who had put him there. He learned that a job was opening up in the prison power plant. He knew nothing about electricity, but there were books in the prison library. So he studied. He learned everything he could. He got the job. He eventually became the superintendent of the power plant, with 150 men under him. While in prison, he befriended another inmate, a prominent businessman named Herbert Bigelow. When Bigelow was released, he told Charlie, "When you get out, come to street. Paul. We'll have a job for you." 5 weeks later, Charlie was released. He went to street. Paul and started as a laborer for $25 a week. Because he worked with PMA, he became a foreman in 2 months. Then a superintendent. Then vice president. And when Mr. Bigelow passed away, Charlie Ward, the former convict, became the president of the company, Brown and Bigelow. Under his leadership, the company's sales grew from $3 million to over $50 million a year. His prison sentence, his greatest adversity, contained the seed of his greatest success. It forced him to change his attitude, to educate himself, and to meet the man who would give him his second chance. So, if you've got a problem, that's good. It's an opportunity in disguise. Finally, the authors talk about the ultimate goal of all this effort: a life filled with wealth, health, and happiness. And they introduce one last, beautiful concept: the magnificent obsession. This idea comes from a novel by Lloyd C. Douglas, and it's profoundly simple. Develop an obsession, a magnificent one, to help other people. Share yourself, your time, your kindness, without expecting anything in return. And above all, keep your good deeds a secret. If you do this, you set a universal law in motion. Try as you might to avoid payment, blessings and rewards will be showered upon you. You don't have to be rich or powerful to have a magnificent obsession. The book tells of a man, a self-described sinner, who was asked for a small donation to the Boys' Clubs of America. He rudely threw the representative out of his office. As the man was leaving, he turned and said kindly, "You may not wish to share with the needy, but I'll share with you a part of what I have, a prayer. May God bless you." A few days later, the sinner showed up at the representative's office with a check for $500,000, on one condition: that his name never be revealed. He wanted to atone for his past, to help boys avoid the mistakes he had made, but he didn't want his name associated with something good. His magnificent obsession wasn't about getting recognition. It was about secretly making the world a better place. This is the final piece of the puzzle. When you combine a positive mental attitude with a definite purpose, take immediate action, look for the something more, and channel it all through a magnificent obsession to serve others, you don't just achieve success. You achieve fulfillment. You attract not just wealth, but riches of the soul. You find not just happiness, but deep, abiding joy. You awaken the sleeping giant within you. Commentary. As we step back and look at success through a positive mental attitude, what strikes me is how incredibly simple and yet profound its central message is. In a world that often feels complicated and overwhelming, Hill and Stone bring us back to the one thing we can always control: the attitude we choose to bring to any situation. The idea of the invisible talisman, PMA on one side, NMA on the other, is such a powerful metaphor because it's so immediate. It reminds us that in every single moment, we are making a choice. Are we facing up the side that attracts opportunity, resilience, and joy, or the side that repels them? What makes this book so timeless is that it's not about fleeting tactics or get-rich-quick schemes. It's about building a fundamental character, a way of being in the world. The 17 success principles aren't just a checklist, they are facets of a single, powerful mindset. Principles like definiteness of purpose, going the extra mile, and learning from defeat are all expressions of a positive mental attitude in action. The stories are what truly bring these ideas to life. When you hear about Charlie Ward transforming his life in a prison cell, or Tom Dempsey kicking a record-breaking field goal with a wooden foot, you realize these aren't just abstract theories. They are real strategies that real people have used to overcome unimaginable obstacles. They show us that our circumstances don't define us, our response to our circumstances does. And the call to action, the simple, thunderous command, "Do it now?" cuts through all our excuses. It's a challenge to stop waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect plan, or the perfect mood, and to simply begin. So much of life is lost in the gap between intention and action, and that two-word mantra is the bridge. So, how can you start applying this wisdom today, right now? Let me offer 3 small challenges. First, for the next 24 hours, consciously practice the mantra, "Every adversity has the seed of an equivalent or greater benefit." When something goes wrong today, a missed bus, a difficult conversation, a frustrating mistake, don't just brush it off. Pause for a moment and ask yourself, where is the seed? What is the small lesson or opportunity hidden inside this problem? Just the act of looking will begin to change your perspective. Second, pick one small important thing you have been procrastinating on. It could be a homework assignment, cleaning your room, or making a phone call you've been dreading. The next time you think of it, say to yourself, with force and intention, "Do it now." And then, take just the first, smallest step. Don't worry about finishing it. Just start. And third, tomorrow morning, before you even get out of bed, try Jerry Awesome's simple affirmation. Say it out loud, with as much energy as you can muster. I feel healthy. I feel happy. I feel terrific. It might feel silly at first, but you are sending a direct command to your subconscious mind to set the tone for your entire day. That's a good place to start. That was the book summary of Success Through a Positive Mental Attitude by Napoleon Hill and W. Clement Stone. We've explored some of the core ideas today, but I'll be honest with you, a summary is like looking at a map of a beautiful country. The map can show you the landmarks, but it can't give you the feeling of the sun on your face or the sound of the ocean. The real magic happens when you make the journey yourself. This summary is here to help you decide if this is a journey worth taking. If any of the stories or ideas we've talked about have sparked something in you, I encourage you to grab a copy of the book. Reading it isn't just about gaining knowledge, it's an experience that can genuinely change the way you see yourself and the world around you. Also, if you found this summary valuable and it gave you something to think about, please do me a small favor and hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. It lets me know that this work is making a difference, and it ensures you won't miss our next journey into another life-changing book. Let's keep growing together.